Our lives are laid out on a road of bumps, turns, struggles, and more. How do we respond? How do we endure adversity for learning and growth? I'm Aubrey Johnson, and we'll explore these questions and more on The Road to Rediscovery. Hey everyone, this is Aubrey, creator and host of the Road to Rediscovery podcast. Today's Wednesday, I believe February 9th, and don't really have anything in particular to talk about. I just thought I'd go live to just reach out to my listeners and thank you all for tuning in and listening to every episode that releases every Thursday. I hope all of you are well. I hope you're keeping warm and you and your families are safe. Um, just a lot of respect, love, and admiration for you and your listenership. Um, Please continue to tune in to the Road to Rediscovery for more future great episodes. Trust me, I have a whole laundry list of some awesome guests that have some tremendous background. So can't wait to share those with you. So what's going on in your world? You know, like I said, I don't have anything in particular to talk about. Just wanted to check in, see how everyone's doing. Um, Here in North Texas, last week was pretty cold. We had snow, we had sleet, we had ice, and below freezing temperatures for a couple of days. Lost power a few times. Nothing as bad as it was last year, where we call it Snowmageddon. Not as bad as that. Just a couple days of below freezing temperatures, snow, ice, and about 3 or 4 power outages. But everything's back to normal now. Sort of. I mean, it's mild, 50s, mid 60s, which is pretty average this time of year down here. And I can go out with a light jacket instead of a bubble coat. So hey, just again, just freestyling, just talking. There were a couple things I wanted to chat about that I just wanted to get your thoughts on, okay? Or, if you want to chime in, feel free to chime in. If you prefer not to and just want to listen, then that's fine too. There's a couple ways you can chime in. I'm still new to this StreamYard platform, okay? So I haven't had any live recordings or any live shows where people have called in. But if you see somewhere in your social media outlet that you can click to join or click to take part of the conversation, uh, feel free. I'm here to chat, and if you can find a way to get in there and chat, that's awesome. If not, that's okay too. I apologize for not knowing how people can tune in or chime in to have a dialogue instead of just this monologue. I will learn more about StreamYard in the near future, I promise you. But another way that you can just share with me your thoughts or feelings after listening to this freestyle conversation is to shoot me an email. Road to Rediscovery Podcast at gmail.com. That's road to rediscovery podcast at gmail.com. Any thoughts, questions, comments, any feedback? I'd love to hear from you. I don't claim to have this whole podcasting thing figured out. Okay. I know what I like, and I know I'm a creature of habit. So I need to develop standards. And I have a standard way of doing things, as you can tell with some of the consistency of my shows. So, I don't know, maybe a little OCD there. Who knows? That's for another conversation, right? But I say that to say that just because it's consistent and I'm saying the same thing each time with the greeting, with the sign off, and that sort of thing, that doesn't mean I have it figured out. It doesn't mean that there isn't a better way to do it. So I guess what I'm saying is I am humble enough and self-aware enough to to joyfully receive any feedback that you have regarding the show. If there's something that you feel I could say better, if there's something you would like to see on the show or hear on the show that you haven't seen or heard, I'm open to it. Okay. I'm open to it. So again, road to rediscovery podcast at gmail.com. And I'm going to go into this. I'm going to say it real quick and then we'll move on. This is no obligation at all. Okay. No obligation. But if you like what you hear on the show and you'd like to just, just show a little appreciation, um, in one way, you can visit road to rediscovery.com/support. That's road the number two rediscovery.com/support. I'll give you a shout out on a future episode. Excuse me. And I have some pretty cool Road to Rediscovery swag that you may have an interest in. So I have some very cool pins. Let's see, what do I have around here? I'm looking for my favorite pin of all time. Here it is. Don't know if you can see this, but this is the Road to Rediscovery pin. And it is really nice. Black ink, and it has a stylus. Look at that. It has a stylus. So, well, let's see. I think I held up the right end. Yeah, there's the stylus. Okay. So you can use it for your tablet or you can use it on paper. I also don't have one with me right now, but I have Road to Rediscovery coffee mugs. I'll post a picture of it in the episode show notes because as this is going live, it will also be a freestyle episode release that like a bonus episode. So I'll attach a picture to the episode show notes to show you what the coffee mug looks like. So I have some cool swag for those of you who who like what you hear and visit road to rediscovery.com/support. All right. So, couple things I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit. This obviously is not going to be an hour long um, episode or conversation, like the great interviews I have with these awesome guests. It's just me chatting with you. Okay. Um, you know, um, for me as a person, I am about establishing connections, relationships, right? The purpose of the road to rediscovery, you've heard it many times on many episodes. I want to not only reflect on my life lessons, because I'm a true believer that having the wherewithal to reflect, that equips you to learn. It equips you to grow. It equips you um, to prevent making mistakes over and over again, recommitting those mistakes, right? And it also equips you to help someone else who is going down a path that you have went down, right? So I'm a big fan of that. And so as a result of that, I feel it's important that we build a community of like-minded people who have a heart for service, who have the intention for personal growth, right? The passion for personal development, and a heart for helping others. So I guess in a nutshell, that's the reason why I created the Road to Rediscovery. And when I say at the end, it's a movement, a revolution, and you're a part of it, I truly mean that. I truly mean that. It's part of a community that we're building up to just uplift other people, right? People who are struggling, to share our stories, not to say, "Hey, look at me and look what I accomplished," but to say, "Hey, I've been where you were, where you are now, and there is hope, and you're not alone," right? Those are the two primary things we want our listeners to know and to understand. You're not alone, and there's always hope. Okay. So I'm saying all this because I want to talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with positive people. Let me repeat that. Surrounding yourself with positive people. You have heard the term misery loves company, right? That is so incredibly true. Misery does love company. Why? Because the only thing not as bad as being miserable is being miserable with someone next to you who's also miserable. You may be miserable, but at least you're not alone. Well, who wants to be miserable, right? Who wants to be miserable? I don't. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure most people don't. Some people may not know how to get out of that feeling of misery, and everyone's background is different. Everyone has a different journey. I've said that for years, you know. Um, but having a community of like-minded positive people, I believe energy feeds off of energy. Okay. And here's an example. Here's what I mean. I also do some public speaking. Okay. My background is talent development. I have been a facilitator, a trainer, an adjunct uh, instructor for a community college, and held other capacities of public speaking. Okay, and um, there are ways as a public speaker that we prepare for a speaking event. So, there's a few things you have to consider as you prepare. Right, you have to consider what is your message and how will you deliver that message. Then you must also consider your audience, right? Who is your audience? Does your message align with the audience needs and that sort of thing? So, as I prepare and consider these things, you know, I I I I do the best I can to prepare, but as I'm out there, now the curtain's open, I'm on stage and I'm talking with the audience. And in just about all of my speaking opportunities, I've asked for a dialogue. I've asked for, input, for feedback. It's not just a one-way channel where I talk and they listen. I want to hear back from others, whatever the topic is. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on that? Right. So when you initiate a vibe, when you initiate an air of positivity, an air of uh, just being pleasant, respectful, right, thoughtful. When you initiate that air in any setting, in my case, public speaking, you want to set you want to set the listeners at ease, right? You want to set the listeners at ease, and when you do that, they feel at ease. They feel like they can speak. When you ask them to, they feel like even though you're talking to 500 people, they feel as if you're talking directly to them. I hope that makes sense. That takes special talent of um, of public speaking that connects and engages the listener. To speak in front of 500 people and each person feels like you're talking personally to them. That's not easy to do. Okay. But there's a level of energy that they receive from you as you approach the stage, as you open with what you have to say, with, uh, you're being pleasant, you're being respectful, you're being loving, you're being compassionate, thoughtful, right? Um, all those things. When you start that way, you are initiating an energy that is received from the listener, and the listener reciprocates. in the energy they give back. And when you see them reciprocate and you, as the speaker, receives that energy, then it just organically blossoms. I don't have any other way to put it. Organically blossoms to where you as the speaker receives the energy, and that just keys you up even more to engage, right? To throw some humor, sprinkle some humor around in your message, to ask for more input and feedback and questions. You know, it really does that, and then they receive that, and it's cyclical. Okay, it's cyclical. So it's a long-winded example, but that's an example of how positivity and positive energy breeds positivity and positive energy. So being around positive people and the way they talk, the way they look at you, the thoughtful things they say, people who are considerate about not just you, but about things that matter to you, right? People who give you a chance to talk without cutting over you or talking over you. People who take your thoughts and opinions, whether they agree with it or not, but they receive them and they respect them and they acknowledge them. Being around people who believe and feel and make you feel mattered is important. And that breeds and generates even more positive energy from you that reciprocates to those around you. To me, it's that simple. To me, it's that simple. About 3 years ago, one of my first episodes was a solo episode called The Target of Ridicule. And in that episode, I can't remember the episode number, but it was back in season one. Check out roadtorediscovery.com or anywhere you listen to your podcast for this show, the Road to Rediscovery. And one of the just look back at one of the earlier episodes. It's called The Target of Ridicule. And in this episode, I am quite transparent in sharing my struggles with trying to feel and be accepted, by my peers at a young, when in my younger juvenile years, and having some friends that I thought were my friends, and just nothing's wrong with a good little good-natured ribbing, or you give your buddies a hard time about something, and then you let it go and move on, right? But this was more than that. This was ongoing, 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 and it wasn't just one person. It was a group of friends that would kind of just turn in and target. Now, it wasn't like this constantly 24/7, but at least once or twice a week, in a setting with multiple people, and they would, I guess, direct their attention towards me for ridicule. I don't know what the reason was. I don't know if there was anyone who had I don't know, who had the feeling that they just need to put me down. I didn't say anything to provoke it. I didn't, poke or make fun or rib them, but it just happened, and I did very little about it. And so at that time, it just kind of perpetuated and grown into something worse until I just detached myself from them. So I was quite transparent in that episode about the target of ridicule. I recommend you have a listen to that. And once you do, you will understand, you know, the type of positive people that you want to surround yourself with and the type of people that you don't want to surround yourself with. Okay. So, just, you know, another thing that's very important is, and I think I mentioned this in the episode, but you have to move on and you can't let that deteriorate you. You can't let it eat you up, right? That it happened. It was 30, 40 years ago, who knows? It's over, it's gone, it's past, and you move on. You move on. Now, what's the key part of moving on after something like that, right? You know what it is. You must forgive. You must forgive. Okay. And you're not forgiving for them, you're forgiving for yourself. Okay. I forgive those who ridiculed me and just turned at the same time, just turned their attention towards me for poking fun, ridicule, actually thinking that it's funny. And maybe it was to them, but just having one person right there in the center receiving it all and not doing much about it, thinking they're their friends. Um, that's tough to take, and that's not the type of people you want to be around. Now, I understand kids are brutal, especially in peer settings, but again, there's a better way to be friends, and so I forgive those. I forgive them. I forgive them so that I can heal. I forgive them so that I don't replay that in my head over and over and over again as I move forward. I felt it very important to share that episode with you as a past episode that I recorded, solo episode, because that was a reflection that I did personally of that part of my journey. I had to reflect on that, and I had to learn things like I'm not what they said I am. I'm not what they kind of joked around and ridiculed me of being, you know. Um, I am accepted. I am accepted. I am enough. I also had to learn the lesson of forgiveness. Yeah, they came down at me, and but I forgive them. I forgive them, and don't get me wrong. We also had some good times. We also had some good times for sure. Okay. So I don't want to discount or diminish this as being just totally victimized by my so-called friends. That wasn't the case. We had some good times too. Okay. So, um, I that was an example of a lesson that I've learned, a reflection. And anyone who's currently going through that, no matter what your age, right? Whether you are a teenager or a young adult or even a full-grown adult, if you're going through something like that, I encourage you to listen to that episode. Once again, it's called The Target of Ridicule. Excuse me. Need something to drink. A little tea. All right. Pardon me. You know what? I think there's a comment here. Let me see what we got here for the comment. Oh, Stephanie. Hello, hello, hello. So great to see you. Oh, it's so great to know that you're tuning in. No, that's awesome. Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to continue talking for a few more minutes and then I'm going to sign off. Okay. Um, One thing I do want to, you could probably already tell, I look like I've been tanning in South Beach, Florida, right? I mean, my whole complexion is like orange. Uh, I'm still working on the lighting. I have a light ring, and the light ring, the way it's structured and put together is just not. I can't put it in the ideal spot um, to give the correct light. I've messed around with this time and time again. I'm gonna have to kind of jerry rig, Um, I have a desk lamp that is right above me and it's angled up and it's kind of like this. I don't know this. It's not an off white. It's kind of like a I don't know, like a light amberish hue. And of course, since I'm bald and my head's shiny, it's reflecting that, making me look orange, I guess you can say. So that's that's why the lighting looks so weird. That's why my whole face looks as bright as it is or as it does. So I'm still working on that. Okay. But anyhow, um surround yourself with positive people, you know, feed off of that positive energy, and you will reciprocate positive energy back. You will. And so, if you have any thoughts on surrounding yourself with positive people, positive energy, and giving positive energy, just shoot me an email, road to rediscovery podcast gmail.com. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll even give you a shout out with your thoughts in a future episode. Oh, fantastic. Well, guys, I think I am close to signing off here. A quick reminder to tune in every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for a new release of The Road to Rediscovery. A new episode's released every Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Um, Tomorrow, I believe we have Lisa Tamati. Lisa Tamati will be released. She is from New Zealand. She is an endurance runner. She has raced in some tremendous races of endurance against the elements from around the world. And she talks about mental strength. She talks about the mental endurance to get through those tough times and adversities, right? Of any magnitude, not just endurance racing, but with any challenges or struggles that you're going through. She'll also talk about the long journey and struggle her and her mom went through when her mother was diagnosed with or had an aneurysm and a stroke. It was a long road back to the quality of life that she aspired to have. And I won't give away the or sell the whole barn, but I just wanted to share with you that that will be released um, tomorrow, February 10th, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, guys, fantastic. For those of you who tuned in live, thank you so much. I'm trying to get my feet wet with this whole live thing. Still trying to learn, what are some effective ways to draw an audience live. I know it's an inconvenience when you're just going about your life and then all of a sudden you get a notification saying someone you're following has just launched a video, right? It could be in the middle of dinner for all we know. So, I'm still trying to figure out the strategy behind, releasing that. So, um, thank you for tuning in if you did. And if you have not, that's okay too. I will be recording. Well, this is being recorded. I will publish this for you to listen to as well. And I think we have another comment before I log off here. Let's see. Oh, yes. My I'm sorry. My eyes are horrible and I need these. Manny, thanks for the inspiration. Right on, Manny. Thank you for tuning in and listening for sure, Manny. Much appreciated. Stephanie, much appreciated for you coming on and listening and tuning in. Um, and thanks to all of you for your continued listenership on my podcast. Like I said, I'll have some awesome guests coming up in week after week after week. Just tune in to find out who they are. And if you want to join the emailing list where you can get advance notice of who these guests are, again, road rediscovery podcast at gmail.com. Just shoot me an email, say, hey, Aubrey, add me to the mailing list, and I'll add you to the mailing list. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off the way I normally do, and you know what that is, right? The road to rediscovery, it's a movement, a revolution. And guess what? You are now part of it. We're all roadies on this journey of life, and it sure feels good having you on the road with me. Thanks again for listening. We'll chat again soon. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of The Road to Rediscovery. We'd love to hear from you. shoot us an email at roadsrediscoverypodcast@gmail.com and leave us any questions or comments you may have. The Roads Rediscovery is an AJ Shark production.